You know, when I shared about my goal about my financial independence, retire early with $1 million at 35, many people are unhappy with it. Firstly, they think $1 million is too little. Secondly, they think 35 years old is too early. And I've been explaining for myself over all these years. But people seem to be stamped on the fact that $1 million is not enough. Now, I strongly believe that the main idea of how much you need for retirement is not the amount of money, but how much do you need to spend every year or every month. In Chinese, we say 富有富的玩法，穷有穷的活法. If your parents were not as well to do as you, do you remember that those days when you were young, they could still live their simple life and raise you up? So if you still think $1 million is not enough, why not you come over to my Telegram and tell me how much is enough and justify with specific calculations and reasons why you think that amount is suitable at Honey Money SG with over 7,000 members. So then, how did I eventually come up with this $1 million retirement number? I'll give you some multi-step process to show you what I think. The first step is to estimate your retirement expenses. And note, I said estimate, right? Because you cannot forecast every single thing in your life. Firstly, you have to consider your current living habits and lifestyle, and note that what you are currently living will be fundamentally quite different from what you have in retirement. You could break down your expected retirement expenses like housing, food, groceries, healthcare, transportation, and maybe some holiday expenses as well. So once you sum all these expenses up, maybe it's a good 3 to 4K depending on how you want to live your life in today's dollars. And talking about today's dollars, an amount of 40,000 USD or 54,000 SGD is sufficient for me. That's around 4,500 Singapore dollars a month. More than enough for me, in fact. And maybe you have to consider that by the time you retire, your property is already fully paid, which means no huge mortgage loans, and maybe your kids are already grown up, they do not need your financial support. Next, you want to calculate your additional retirement income, and this will come from places like your CPF interest after 55, your SRS withdrawals from 62, as well as your CPF life payouts from 65. So all these are additional sources of passive income even when you have decided to stop working. Also, once you have retired from your main job, maybe you also want to look at some part-time employment, some places that you really enjoy working at. Like if you want to work at a fish farm and you want to be in the fishery industry, then go for it because now you're already retired. And if you're considering to retire early, one of the most important things is to start investing. And what is the better way to invest? That is through a low-cost trading platform like my sponsor. See what I told you? This company finally woke up. Because now, when you sign up with Weibo Singapore, you can win a total of 6 to 40 free shares from companies like Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, or Google. And each share is worth from 3 to 1,000 US dollars. So now, in order to qualify, you need to deposit at least $100 and hold the deposit for 30 days without any withdrawals. Don't worry, there are no trade requirements this time. But one new feature from Weibo is now you can do the regular savings plan, where you can finally automate your investments and use your time wisely on other interesting stuff. You will also get one lucky draw ticket where you can win $888 weekly and even get a chance to drive away with a Tesla Model 3 as the grand prize lucky draw winner. So wait no more, use my referral link down below or scan the QR code right here to get your Weibo account today. So once you have calculated all these retirement expenses and retirement passive income, now you want to start applying the 4% rule. What is the 4% rule about is that you have a retirement portfolio, and within this retirement portfolio, every year, if you just withdraw 4% of it, there is a good possibility that you won't run out of money for at least 30 years. So like for my example, my annual living expense for a comfortable range is around 40,000 US dollars per year. To apply the 4% rule, I would take 40,000 USD divided by 4%, and that comes up to a number of $1 million USD. But of course, I want to put a disclaimer that use this 4% rule as a guideline, not as an absolute right. You don't have to be too fixated on the number of 4% rule or 3% rule, whatever, right? You can adjust numbers. The thing is that you have to be adaptive, right? Whatever situations come, whether it's emergency situation or unforeseen circumstances that may lead you to a huge expense, all this you cannot predict. You can only forecast what is within your control. So use it as a guideline, but don't use it as an absolute number. You can adjust it anytime along the way. And speaking of financial independence, retire early, if you want to watch me live with Kelvin Learns Investing on a panel discussion, do join both of us on this live speaking event that is held on the 21st of June, Wednesday, by downloading the Goodwill app and registering for the event. See you there. Of course, when you are planning and calculating for your retirement portfolio, you have to add in some certain assumptions like risk tolerance, market conditions, and inflation. All these should be factored in. But if you're not familiar with all these terms, definitely go and consult a licensed professional financial advisor to help guide you through on a one-to-one basis. And one more thing about retirement you have to consider is unforeseen circumstances, whereby you cannot really put it into the plan. Because how are you able to forecast if you will get into an accident, or your family members, they may be in a medical condition where it really requires a lot of money to pay for the medical bills. So what you can do is to reduce the risk, mitigate the risk, right? Get sufficient medical insurance and disability insurance coverage. That could be from your MediShield Life or Integrated Shield plan for the medical and hospitalization coverage, and maybe your CareShield Life supplement for your disability income. All these are plans where you could buy when you're still healthy and mitigate all these kind of health related risks. How about inflation then? You have to realize that inflation is something that is ongoing. So I will use a conservative inflation rate of 3.5%. That is similar to what the rate of special account in the CPF is increasing every year, right? The full retirement sum. If you use it on my 40,000 USD per year annual expense, you have to calculate by the time you retire, how much would that retirement income balloon into? Then you can adjust it to your total retirement portfolio. Because I am very sure the same $40,000 in today's value will be quite different from, let's say, 10 years later. Like for example, 3 years ago, I could still buy bak chor mee at $3 per bowl. Now it's at least $4 per bowl. That's like a 33% inflation over 3 years. And like I said, $1 million is not a fixated number. I could adjust it up or down depending on my life situations. Therefore, you really need to be adaptive to your life circumstances, be it the changes to a lifestyle, your expenses, and your personal situations, or maybe your kid's situation or your parents' situation, and make necessary adjustments to that retirement portfolio or your retirement income or expense. Then once you have considered all these things, put it together into an Excel calculation spreadsheet, apply the 4% rule, and that will be your retirement portfolio. Whether it is in $1 million or $2 million, or for some of you living in low cost of living cities, maybe you can stretch it with 600K. That is good enough. And I want to be clear that $1 million is not a fixated goal, like I always said, but it's definitely a goal that you can work towards too. And in fact, if you could even achieve $1 million, it's a very great achievement and milestone. Some people never really got the chance to even achieve that amount within their lifespan. So if you even got into that milestone, give yourself a pat on the back. And once you've achieved that $1 million, maybe because of your personal situation, you think that it's not enough, then adjust it upwards to 1.5 million. That's your next milestone. Also, retirement to me is not about doing nothing. You can't really sit at the beach all day and also drinking your local kopi from the nearby coffee shop. You cannot do that and waste your time every day just doing nothing meaningful in your life. But the idea of retirement is that you don't have to work for money anymore. You don't have to see your boss face. You don't have to go to your boss to approve for leave, because now you can do whatever you want at your own time, at your own pace, without worrying about money, because your retirement portfolio is already secured. You have that sufficient financial independence. So try not to do nothing, otherwise your mind and body will deteriorate when there is no physical or mental activity to keep you alive. And you may be curious whether I'm on track to hit the $1 million goal by 35. And I will share my very transparent opinions right here in this previous video.